So let's start shading. For this we switch here now to the /mat context, and what I tend to do is I switch now here these two rows of my user interface into columns. So I hold down my Alt or Option key and click here on this little icon, and then I click here without Alt key again, so that I have my parameters on the right side and my node graph on the left side. And in the /mat context, we now add a principal shader here, which we directly can name banana, and drag it onto our banana here. And let's make some more space here. See, now you see the whole list here of the principal shader. And what we want to do now is we want to set our textures. We come back to these options here in a moment. So let's go to the textures, and I don't want to start with the base color. I want to start with, for example, the roughness. So let's go to the roughness, click here, use texture, and now we can add here the texture through this file loader here. Let's go into our project, and we've saved everything here into the text folder. Now we want to have roughness, that's that here. That's the first result here. Maybe that's okay, maybe not. I'm missing a little bit here the roughness which I am after, but you will see in a moment what's the problem with that. So the next thing we now add is the metallic. Make a tick here. We don't use metallic on the banana, so everything is a dielectric, but maybe you mixed metallic and non-metallic, so this texture will show that here. Everything is black, so everything is dielectric and not conductor. But yeah, let's add this also here. And then we go over to the bump map, and here on the base we can now add our bump or normals. So make a tick here, and one important thing here is now that you first have to decide what texture type you're after. So if you load the texture and then you decide you want to change that, you will see that switching that here will change the user interface. So in our case, we've baked out a normal map. So normal map is what we need here. A bump map here is a height map, so it's grayscale, and that's other purpose. So normal map we load now, and that's the normal map here. It's a tangent space normal map. And now at this point, if you now look here over the banana, you will see some really weird stuff going on. You see, there is something going on with the normals, but it sits at the wrong place. What happened? You remember that when we were building our node tree, we tried some things out, and a really common mistake which happens is that the display flag here sits not at the end of a node tree. You see, it sits on UV flatten here and not on the UV layout, which changed the layout of the UVs, and that's the reason why it doesn't fit, because these nodes here have written out the result here from the UV layout. So you have to switch here the right node on, or to make sure for all times, make a null object, name this banana, for example. I use capital letters for something like that, and you see I have here a duplicate with that here, so let's name it out banana, and then press the C key to get the color palette, and I normally tend my output nodes to color them black, so now everything fits and everyone will see, okay, that's the end here of a tree like that. Okay, let's go back now to the materials. Now it looks much better. Everything fits where it belongs, but one other thing which is important we have to talk about. Let's go back here into the textures. These textures here which you load in are multiplied by the original values of the channels. What does this mean? Let's try this first with the base color here. I take the base color and I load now my texture. This is the albedo map here. Okay, now it's in. And at the moment you load this here in and you look at that, you have the feeling that the colors are absolutely wrong. And it hasn't to do with something here with the shading. So it's really wrong. The reason for this lies here under the parameters of the surface. You see here that we still have a base color, which is grayish. And what Houdini does in the principal shader is it takes the textures and multiplies these values which come from the textures by these parameters here. And the base color here is gray, and that's the reason why you tinted it down. So if you want to have the original color, you have to go in here and make it 1, which is white in our case. And now you see you get exactly the correct color here. Now it's okay. It's a feature. So you can now go in here and say, yeah, I want to tint, for example, the banana a little bit more into a warmish tone. You can do it here, you see. But in our case, that's something we don't want, so keep this in mind. Another parameter where this has happened is roughness. We've imported here a roughness map, which delivered the original roughness which we had in 3D code. But here we still have a value of 0.3, which is now multiplied with the map, and so you changed it. So if you want the original roughness of the map, you have to make sure that it's a multiplication by 1. And now you see you get a much more realistic result, which looks a little bit more like the look I had in 3D code. But you can use this here again as a feature. And the same comes now to metallic. In our case, it's hard to explain how this works because we don't have a metallic amount in the moment. But let's do that. I go here to 1 and you see nothing changed. The reason for this is that our metallic map is nearly, or it is black, because we had no metal at all on our banana. So it doesn't make a difference. But if you ever go here, and let's try this, I bring it back to 0, go back to the textures, and I exchange this metallic map here with another texture. Let's look here into the textures if we find something useful. And yeah, I take here this, let's see, brick texture here, which is black and white, and you see there are some areas which are white, which should be metal then, if you have the idea of a metallic map in the background, and black, which is not metallic. So if you load that now here, you will see that in the viewport, funny enough, nothing happens. So it seems that the metallic here is not working at all. And the reason for this is that here the metallic is 0. So every value which you bring in through the texture in the metallic slot is multiplied by 0, and the result is 0. If you now go here and bring it to 1, you see now the result which you expect, that some parts are metallic, which are white in the texture, and some parts are not metallic, which are black. So metallic has to be 1, roughness has to be 1, base color has to be neutral white, or if you want to tint it, you can do it. So let's go back here to the roughness, and metallic it was, so metallic, and I go back here into the metalness here. That's it. And now we have done our shader. I press save, and then we go into the camera setup and render this banana. So first things first, search for a good position for your camera. Maybe I want to see it like that here. Then you hold down your control key and click here on the camera symbol to place the camera exactly at the position where you are in the viewport. That's it. But remember, you are not the camera in the moment. So if you now move back, you drop out of the camera and you can see the camera here. So if you want to go back to the camera, you can go to this drop down here, select camera 1. Now you are back here. And if you select the camera and activate the handle tool by pressing enter or click it, you have here this widget where you can make your manipulations on the camera. Or if you want to move yourself as the camera, you have to lock yourself with this lock icon here into the camera, and then you can move in the viewport, and at the same time you move the camera. You see, you don't drop out of the camera anymore. Great, now we have this framing here, and then we go into the out context. If you have made a test render until this point, you maybe have here, if you press H, like home all, a mantra IPR node. We don't, so let's do a mantra node by hand. So type mantra, add it here. Now we can configure it. First thing we have to configure is the camera which we want to use. Camera 1 is okay because that's the name of the camera we've added, but if you renamed it, don't forget that you have to select it here. So make sure that we have it selected here. Then we can go here to the rendering process. I want to use a PBR rendering, so not only ray tracing, but physical based rendering. So that's set here. Then you have all your settings, which we maybe want to do. Like I've said, this here is only a practice. If you want to learn more about all these features in materials, in modeling, in shading, lighting and rendering, you can take a look into our Pixel Train Houdini Fast Forward publication, which is available on Vimeo. So this here is only now the setup which we want to do. We output now the file here into our render folder. That's great. And now we can say render it to disk or render it to Mplay, and then you have to save it by hand. But I say now render it to disk. And now the rendering starts, and after it has finished, we can now switch over and take a look onto this image. So the rendering is done, and now I can switch over to, for example, here Affinity Photo. And I go here to open into my render folder of my project here. And here is the EXR with the banana. I go here to open and congratulations, that's it. This ends this tutorial series. I hope you learned something new and you have practiced a little bit more the workflow inside of Houdini. If you want to learn more, take a look onto my YouTube channel, take a look into our Houdini Fundamentals publication. If you have more questions or you have ideas for tutorials which you want to see, please comment under this video, give a thumbs up if you liked it and subscribe. My name is Helge Maus from Pixel Train. Thanks and have fun.